Good evening. You're now with me, Henry, for TVS Nightline. We begin with this story. Sarawak civil servants and professionals now have greater access to globally recognized higher education. A new partnership between the Sarawak Institute of Management and the University of Melbourne, or OUM, brings a globally recognized Master of Business Administration program closer to home. Premier Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Rahman Johari Tunopeng says the collaboration is a strategic move to develop a highly skilled workforce capable of driving the state's digital economy and AI transformation.
The University of Melbourne, as you know, is globally recognized for its excellence in research, innovation, business education, and academic leadership. Through this collaboration, Sarawakians will gain greater access to world-class education and professional development opportunities without necessarily leaving the region. Very flexible.
Additionally, UOM Interim Deputy Dean, Professor Peter Gahan, highlights that the program is fully online, offering an interactive experience designed with a flexible structure for the modern professional.
How quickly? So it's 12 subjects, so it could be completed in 1 year full time, or we would advise that it's completed over a more extended period. More likely 18 months, 2 years, part-time would be a more appropriate time frame. You need to give your chance an opportunity to engage in deep learning, not simply pass. We don't want students coming into this who are here to pass.
Gahan adds that enrollment cycles go live twice a year, every January and July. UOM currently holds the 19th spot in the 2026 QS World University Rankings. Meanwhile, the next generation of leadership in Sarawak is facing a new challenge: adapt or be left behind. Premier Abang Johari insists that mastering AI is no longer optional. According to him, high adaptability is the only way for organizations to remain relevant in a new economic landscape fueled by digital disruption.
We are expanding into new areas such as renewable energy, digital economy, artificial intelligence, advanced manufacturing, and of course, green technology. As we move towards becoming a high-income and developed region by 2030, we must therefore ensure that our workforce is equipped with the right competencies, leadership qualities, and global perspectives.
Abang Johari notes that while AI accelerates workflows and boosts efficiency, human intelligence remains the ultimate compass for strategic decision-making.
Bank projects Malaysia's GDP growth at 4.8% this year, should the conflict in West Asia end by June. President and Group CEO Datuk Wan Razli Abdullah says the outlook is supported by stable domestic demand, stronger investment activity and continued economic reforms, adding that Malaysia's economic prospects remain positive despite global uncertainties.
These trends are occurring alongside a broader shift in global investment flows towards Asia. Global assets under management have now reached US $147 trillion, with Asia accounting for close to US $40 trillion. This reflects the growing importance of Asia in shaping the future direction of the global capital and economic growth.
Wan Razli says the trend reflects Asia's expanding role in shaping the future of global capital flows and economic growth. He adds that ASEAN is emerging as one of the world's most strategic regions as companies diversify supply chains and reduce concentration risks. According to him, Malaysia remains well positioned to benefit from these developments.
Now, urban T20 earners have questioned the fairness of the proposed RON95 fuel subsidy rationalisation, saying it could raise living costs in major cities. Prime Minister Sri Anwar Ibrahim had earlier announced that the mechanism is still being refined, including whether it should involve the T5, T10, T15 or T20 groups. While UniKL Business School economist Associate Professor Dr. Aimi Zulhazmi Abdul Rashid says the definition of wealthy should instead be based on net household income, noting that those earning above 10,000 ringgit in Kuala Lumpur, Penang and Johor are also facing high living costs.
Ya, sebagai contoh di Kuala Lumpur selepas ditolak pelbagai kos rumah dan pelbagai lagi, mereka sebenarnya pendapatan bersih mereka tidaklah yang dikatakan T20 tapi mungkin dah lebih kepada M40, golongan pertengahan. Jadi definisi T20 itu sendiri haruslah tepat, ada pelbagai data daripada Jabatan Statistik Malaysia.
At the same time, he welcomes the proposal as it has the potential to reduce the government's financial burden, especially as oil prices continue to rise with no signs of declining.
Oleh itu, perlu juga kerajaan menilai semula kerana apa yang dikatakan subsidi besar-besaran ini telah mencecah sehingga 5 ke 6 bilion ringgit sebulan, dan pastinya ia memberikan kesan buruk kerana ia mungkin mencecah untuk setahun 50 ke 60 bilion ringgit berbanding dengan belanjawan negara untuk tahun ini hanyalah di sekitar 15 ke 20 bilion ringgit sahaja.
Nearly 4,700 students have been offered tertiary education programs under the Sarawak Free Tertiary Education Scheme (FTES) so far. Deputy Education, Innovation and Talent Development Minister Dr. Anwar Rapai says the figure involves new and existing students at 4 education institutions in Sarawak.
Mengikut pecahannya Tan Sri Dato' Ahmad Speaker, University ICATS, University College ICATS terdapat 172 orang pelajar yang ditawarkan. Sementara Universiti Kertin Malaysia di Miri telah menawarkan seramai 543 orang pelajar. Dan Swinburne Kuching telah menawarkan seramai 1,959 orang pelajar secara percuma ini. Dan Universiti Teknologi Sarawak di Sibu menawarkan 2,020 orang pelajar secara percuma pada tahun ini.
The figure is expected to climb further with the intake of new students for the June and September sessions. The uptake is also projected to push Sarawak closer to its target of 10,000 students benefiting from the free education scheme this year. Meanwhile, Anwar told the House that more than 1,400 students turned down the offer under the scheme, citing valid reasons.
Bukan mereka tidak suka ataupun mereka menolak, mereka mempunyai alasan yang cukup baik. Ini adalah di kalangan existing student, di mana mereka di peringkat tahun akhir, tahun hadapan sudah tamat pengajian. Mereka mempunyai kontrak ataupun perjanjian dengan pihak-pihak beasiswa, di mana mereka tidak dapat breach the contract. Sebab itu mereka menolak.
The Institute of Teacher Education (IPGM) is investigating bullying claims at its Kuching campus, stressing it will not compromise on disciplinary action. The institution, under the Education Ministry, says firm action, including expulsion, will be taken against any trainee found guilty. The statement adds that trainees are expected to show discipline and high moral character as the nation's future educators. This follows a social media firestorm over an incident that allegedly went down early last Friday morning. A group of seniors supposedly targeted male juniors from the 2025/2030 intake. The seniors reportedly rounded up the juniors before subjecting them to insults, verbal abuse, and other immoral acts. The West Asia conflict reached new heights today as Iran vows that it will respond with 90% uranium enrichment in case of renewed offensive from the US. Elsewhere, China rejects claim made by Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who claimed that Beijing provided support to Iran by helping them manufacture missiles. But first, US President Donald Trump claims that the US will win the war against Iran. More on that with Razi Ahmad.
Thanks, Andy. Yesterday, Trump, while at the White House, spoke to reporters and vowed that the U.S. is, quote, going to have a complete victory over Iran. Take a look.
They think that, well, I'll get tired of this, or I'll get bored, or I'll have some pressure, but there's no pressure. There's no pressure at all. We're going to have a complete victory. We've already, in theory, had a complete victory from the military standpoint.
While his confidence is unquestionable, the ceasefire with Iran is weak, as he described it being on life support. And during the same press conference, he called Iran's proposal as garbage and admits he didn't spend time to finish reading it through.
After reading that piece of garbage they sent us, I didn't even finish reading it. They said, I'm not going to waste my time reading it.
Now, following Donald Trump's remarks, Iran says it would consider 90% of uranium enrichment as one of its responses if the U.S. decides to resume their offensive. However, this remains under review, according to spokesman for the Iranian Parliament's Foreign Policy and National Security Committee, Ibrahim Rezai. Now, Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Khalibaf seconded the motion, stating that Iran is ready to deliver a, quote, memorable lesson to any aggression that the U.S. and Israel may conduct sooner or later. He further emphasized on all options and that their opponents are in for a surprise. Now, both Ibrahim and Bagher made statements on X, reflecting Trump's barrage of statements he posts on the daily on Truth Social. Meanwhile, in China, its foreign ministry spokesperson Guo Jiakun rejected claims that the country had provided support to Iran in manufacturing missiles. The accusation, he says, are not grounded on facts. He also stresses that China, on multiple occasions, will always fulfill its international obligations. At the same time, China firmly opposed U.S. sanctions against 12 individuals and entities that it said facilitated the sale and shipment of Iranian oil to China.
将采取坚定措施维护本国企业和公民的正当权益。关于伊朗的战事，当务之急是全力避免战端重启，而不是恶意关联抹黑中国。
Speaking of the UN, the executive director for its Office for Project Services, UNOPS, Jorge Moreira da Silva, states that if the blockade at the Strait continues to persist, it will endanger the lives of millions of people around the world. The shipment of fertilizers worldwide has been critically delayed. Jorge then gave a timeline, a few weeks more, to prevent what will likely be a massive humanitarian crisis.
We have to find a way to get the people, the farmers, having access to fertilizers. I'm very alarmed, taking into consideration the most recent data. When the crisis started, we knew that a few countries, some countries in Africa and Southeast Asia would be impacted. Now it's much worse because the entire fertilizer market is disrupted. So,
as Israel continues to hamper Lebanon with strikes and phosphorus, killing people and poisoning the land simultaneously. Hezbollah's chief Naim Qassem, via a statement broadcast on Al Manar TV, says that weapons were not part of the upcoming negotiations between Lebanon and Israel. He also vowed that Hezbollah's forces will turn the battlefield into hell for Israeli forces. Just hours ago, AFP published footage of Israeli army preparing for an upcoming attack in southern Lebanon. Allegedly, they located compounds used by Hezbollah, including an underground tunnel route containing large quantities of weapons, weapons storage facilities, and missile launchers. A very lengthy update indeed for tonight. Let's head back to Handy for the rest of tonight's report.
Right, thank you, Razi. Those were the updates on TVS Nightline. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.